Hi, I'm Beth. Thanks for joining me today for this twisting chair yoga class. Now, the majority of this class, or the majority of the postures that I do today, are going to be twists seated in the chair. At the end, I'll stand up for a couple of standing twists that will add a little bit of an element of balance. If you can stand up with me, join me. If you can't or don't want to stand up, end your practice at that point. So you'll need a sturdy chair. I am just on a standard folding chair. A dining room chair will work, preferably something with a back because we will use that, and no arms. Scoot yourself a little bit forward so that you're at the edge of your chair, and that helps the spine to be long and upright. We'll start with a few warm-ups for the spines. When we move into twisting postures, it's really important for the side bodies to be long, and so for our spine to really lift us up tall to help with breathing once we start constricting our body a little bit in the twists. So we'll start with a little cat-cow movement. We'll do a variation today with the arms on shoulders. If you prefer some other variation, that's fine. So as you breathe in, open across the chest, draw your elbows, your shoulder blades away from each other, chest comes forward, you can look up a little bit, and then as you exhale, start to draw your elbows toward each other in the front as you round your back, drawing your shoulder blades far apart. And continue this move a few times on your own. Now you can vary the in-out breath to whatever works for you. The important thing is that you're breathing and moving at the same time, and really being mindful of breathing with your movement. You might decide to do this a little bit faster. However you move through these two opening flows, be mindful of your movement. Maybe linger a little bit if you need a little bit more stretch. I'm going to do one more each way, so we're getting a little bit of a back bend in the upper back, and then a little bit of a forward bend. And you can release your hands from your shoulders. Next, we'll be doing a move that's sometimes called picking cherries. It's also called picking apples. Again, this is going to start stretching along the lateral spine. So reach overhead. How high you reach doesn't matter so much. Reach up with one hand so you're stretching more along that side, and then the other. And so you can see why it's called picking some kind of fruit. You're reaching up for that fruit tree, grabbing, and feel as you go from side to side. You're really trying to get that all the way from however high up you reach with your arm, and your arm can stay bent all the way along one side, and then shifting all the way along the other side. And again, you can move with the breath. Maybe each time you move the arm up, breathing in, exhale, in, however feels good. A few more like this. And then the next time your right arm comes up, I am mirroring you, take your left and grab it somewhere. Grab your hand, your wrist, your forearm, your top arm can be bent. You can rest that arm right on your head as we start to lean a little bit to the left. So we're just exaggerating and holding that stretch a little bit more. We started with a dynamic stretch, and now we're holding it for a few seconds. And we still breathe. And always take your attention back to your breath as you hold poses. And on the next breath in, reach both arms up. You might look up at them for a second. And let's go back to the dynamic movement for a moment. We'll be doing a combination of dynamic movement, which just means moving within the postures, and holds in this practice. All right. This time, your left arm up. Grab wrist, forearm, hand, wherever's comfortable. You can rest your forearm right on your head, and then start to bend to your right. So I'm gently, really gently pulling with the top arm, not hard. I'm also trying to concentrate my left hip on staying seated in the chair so that I don't tip my whole body over. And breathing. One more breath. Reach both arms up one more time. Look up if you'd like. Float the arms down. All right, last thing that we'll do is kind of a warm-up is to stretch the neck a little bit. So in our twists, the majority of our twist is really around the rib cage. This is your thoracic spine, but it starts at the lower spine and goes all the way up, and it can include the neck. So that's why we want to warm up the neck. So we'll start by taking the left ear toward the left shoulder. Both shoulders are soft, so we're not raising the shoulders to meet the ear. And you might think of the top of the ear going out in that direction. So getting length on this opposite right side. And you can even take your right hand and kind of dangle it or hold the bottom of the chair if that's easily accessible. Do a few gentle movements. Shake your head no. Yes, tiny movement. So we want to go slow when we're exploring movement with the neck. Do a little U shape. And then we're going to do a little bit of a quarter turn. So take your chin and turn it so that's over the shoulder. And from there, we'll take the chin to the chest, back to the shoulder. A few times like this. So this is definitely a little bit of a U shape. And last time, stay center. Lift your chin up and we'll move to the other side. So this time it's going to be your right ear toward your right shoulder. Remember to keep the shoulder soft, keep this side long, and send the ear kind of in a diagonal in the opposite direction. You can let your left hand kind of dangle, or you can grab the bottom of the chair, whatever you like. I'm just resting my right hand on my thigh. And then I'll start to explore a little bit of movement. So your bottom hand can act as a bit of an anchor as you explore that movement, or you can rest both hands on your lap. And this is part of a functional yoga practice, is exploring how it feels in your body. That's really key. All right, so from here, we'll do that quarter of a turn where I'll turn my chin to be toward my shoulder. And then rolling the chin down to chest, back to shoulder. Few times, creating that little U shape, maybe hearing some cracks and pops along the way. And then next time, chin is to chest, using the back of your neck, lift up long. All right, beautiful. So that's our little warm-up sequence. We're going to begin with our twists. So for this first twist, your legs can be a little bit apart or closer together. Remember to be on the edge of your chair. So not so that you're going to fall off, but gang, so we keep our body long and upright. So scooch around and adjust if you need to. And then we'll take the hands and we'll do a little ball and socket hands. So take your right hand and make a little, this is your ball. Your left hand is going to be your socket. So this is in part to remind us at first to keep our chin or our neck facing forward. So our head's going to face forward. We're not going to move the neck at first, and we're going to start turning toward your left. So your right hand can act as kind of a little push, except that the hands are going to stay centered in the chest. Okay, so I like to breathe in before I start my twist. Again, getting that sense of long and tall. And then as I exhale, we start to twist toward your left, keeping the hands centered at the chest and then the head centered. You can even glance down at the knuckles. So not looking this way or this way. And then we're going to go in and out of it a few times. So remember, when you come out, you can breathe in, be taller. Exhale into the twist and return. Breathe, turn, and come back. Yeah, I just moved my head a little bit. So the tendency is to want to move your head. And there's nothing wrong with that. We just want to practice a little bit getting that movement around the torso first. All right, one more time, thinking about that twist, moving up like a spiral from your belly button through the thoracic spine, the rib cage, and then wherever you are, you can drop your hands down. So the right hand might come to the outside of the thigh, and your left hand can go on the back of your chair seat, on the back of the chair, wherever feels comfortable. You can use your hands to aid in the twist a little bit. So a gentle push on the outside of my thigh, a little bit of pull with this hand, nothing jerky, just a little bit of an aid. And then I can either keep my head centered on my chest, or maybe I can look more over my back shoulder. And if you choose to look over your back shoulder, you might turn in the opposite direction, looking over your front shoulder. And you can do that a couple of times. Keep your head dynamic, moving back and forth in this big, slow no. Or if there's a spot that feels right for your head and your neck and the twist, you can hold there. And we'll stay for another breath or two. And then let your body unwind, coming back through to the front, and we'll go to the other side. So this time it's your left hand that's going to make the ball, your right that's going to be the socket that it goes into. And this is just, again, a little bit of a guidance for us to keep our head, our chin towards center, glancing at our knuckles to start. Breathe in. Remember that lateral stretching that we did. Feel the air in your torso, lifting you up tall. And then as you exhale, spiral up from your waist through your obliques, the muscles in between your ribs, wherever you land on this side. And then come back, and we'll do that a few times. Turning into your twist, you'll feel your right shoulder blade pull back and your left shoulder come forward. That's natural. That's part of that movement throughout our whole torso. Let's do one more. Then on the next one, we'll stay. Turn into your twist. Lower your hands. Hand comes to the outside of the thigh, grabbing anywhere behind you that feels good. A little gentle effort with the hands. And then if you'd like, the turn of the head. Exploring the movement from the back of the rib cage, the back of the shoulder, that part comes forward. And then in your back body, your right side, that pulls back, pulling you into the twist a little bit more deeply on every exhale. Remember that you can explore the movement of your head as well, going by how that feels for your neck. And then I'll hold for one last breath here. And twist back around to the front. All right, for the next twist, I'm going to turn partially side. Actually, this is my right leg, but your left leg can stay facing me, and then open, or your right leg, and open your left out. The mirroring gets a little tricky at times. So your right leg facing me, your left out to the side. Legs are approximately in a 90 degrees. And you might just scooch a little bit more to the edge of your chair. Now, the angle doesn't have to be exactly a 90 degree. No one's measuring geometry here. You'll find that this takes you kind of on a diagonal in between your two legs. And then we're going to bend toward, or turn toward the leg that's side. So we're starting like a quarter twist here. And we'll use your back left hand, again, to hold on the bottom of the chair, the back of the chair, whatever feels good. So this time we'll start from a twist, and then we'll open. Start from the closed part of the twist, and then we'll open, using the arm to help. So I'm going to take my right arm as I twist back to you and open into the twist, holding with my left behind. And then I'll come closed. Now I can do this with a bent arm and elbow, drawing the shoulder blade, the elbow behind me. I can do this up in a Y shape. So the arm is part of how you customize your twist. You can stay with the T or go however feels good. And as you do this, see if you can keep an eye on your thumb, and as you open out, watch that to kind of guide the turn of your neck. So you can try it a few times. I turn my head back first. So let me look at my thumb this time. And then let me try to do that as I return, and then that helps make sure I don't lead the whole twist with my neck. So one more time like that. Even as the one teaching this, sometimes I don't follow my own advice. All right, and then I'll let my body naturally come to the diagonal, move my foot back, and we'll slide over to the other side. So your right leg opens up, creating that little 90 degrees, or maybe it's more of a 45, 60, wherever you are on this side. Adjust as you need to, and then turn that little bit of extra toward your side leg, so your right leg. Anchor your right hand somewhere on the chair. Maybe it stays on the side of your thigh, however feels comfortable for you. And then this time we'll start with watching the thumb from the beginning. So reach out your left hand and then pay attention, keeping your neck, your head aligned with your gaze at your thumb as you open up into any arm position you like, and then come back down. And I'll vary the arms just for variety. Try opening up to my elbow and still keeping the gaze on my thumb. And then here's where my head wants to lead ahead of the rest of the twist. Take up into that V. I don't know why the return, the head wants to go first. Wants to just hurry back there. We'll do a few more in a simple T shape. These twists might produce some sensation for you, get things moving around. If there's anything sharp or painful or uncomfortable, of course that's your body saying stop. The last time, allow yourself to unwind and then bring the back leg out to meet the front. We never want pain. Yeah, we'll sometimes feel even a little bit of an uncomfortable sensation as we do things that are new or twist our bodies into new ways. Not pain, not any sharpness, not anything stinging. I'm going to take my legs a little bit wider, a little bit out on kind of a V, or if we were standing, we call this goddess pose. My toes are turned out, and you can see my feet are a little wider than the feet of the chair. I'm going to grab one of my blocks. You don't need a block, so I'm just going to show you two different options. So one of the options, I'm going to use the block on the inside of my foot. So I'm going to start to lean. It'll be your right side of the body toward the top of your right thigh. It's kind of leaning over in that direction. And so the first option is for me to hook my elbow right in front of my thigh, just like we would do in side angle pose. The second option, and here's where the block comes in, is to put the hand down on the block. I have it here on the medium. You can also have it on the high or the low setting. The high setting actually feels pretty good. I'm going to take my left hand to the left hip, elbow back, shoulder blade back, and start opening up to the left. And then just like the other pose, I can add my arm if I like. And I can keep my head centered. I can turn to look down at my hands, sometimes turning in this opposite direction that what's expected feels really nice. Or I can look at the top. Now you can make this dynamic like we did the last pose, and you can close your arm and your gaze in and then open out. And just hold this one. You do it how it works for your body. As we hold a twist, we want to breathe the entire time. So we're not just exhaling, we're breathing. And on the exhale, maybe you explore whether there's a tiny bit more room to twist. That could be a little millimeter. And the next breath, I'm going to bring my hand down. I'll gently help myself up on my thigh to sit back upright and switch to the other side. If you're using the block, switch the block to the other side. So remember, this time is going to be the left side of your torso, starting to lean over the top of your left thigh. Your left elbow can come to the inside of your thigh. So take a moment to set this up. This is a bit of a lateral stretch. And if you start to lean, remember, you can send the hip back down on the opposite side. Or you can use the block. Right hand to right hip as a reminder to start opening in that direction. And then you can add a straighter arm, or you can keep the arm bent the whole time. It's up to you. Remember that you can glance up at your hand. You can keep the chin centered right over your chest, or you can look down at the bottom hand. Sometimes when I remember, I like to look down in the opposite direction since I spend so much time looking the other way. And then the other option here is you can look up at your hand, bring it back down to meet the other one, and then open it back up in a dynamic in and out motion. I'm going to hold here for a couple more breaths, exploring any more motion in this twist. I can even come a little more upright onto my fingertips and see how that feels. And then next breath, come down, help myself up on my thigh, come back to upright, help myself bring the legs in. All right, let me move these props. So that was the seated portion of the twist. I hope that you're feeling a little bit more mobile in this area. If you want to do a few more twists and add a little bit of a balance challenge, join me standing. If you're ending your practice here, you can stay seated and close your eyes, resting your hands for a few moments. In fact, you can do that while I continue to instruct and take these next few moments just as a chance to wind down and relax. You can also do that helping yourself to the floor and then putting your calves up on the chair, which is another great relaxation pose. So I'm going to stand up. I'll stand on this side to start. And I'll stay with my chair. Actually, I think I'll turn my chair. You don't have to turn your chair. That's just so you can get a little better view of me. So the first posture we're going to do is we're going to do one foot on the chair. So I'm going to take it so that my leg closer to you is the foot on the chair. Now you can do it. I'm going to turn to your view. You can turn away from the bent leg, and that's an open twist. And if you have a wall nearby, not quite the wall, but just to show you, which at either side that you want, you can place the chair near the wall, and then when you twist, you can hold onto the wall. So the wall is a great option here. So this is my right leg on the chair, and then I'm going to be turning toward the right leg. You see I have my hands resting here. My torso is upright. And I'm going to just gently spin from the belly button around like we've been doing. And I'll use my hands on the outside of the thigh as a little gentle hold. Now I could keep just one hand on the outside of the thigh and spread the other hand back. You probably see me wobbling a little bit. And on one foot here, the other foot is on my chair. My chair's got a little bit of a cushiness to it. So yeah, it's a little wobbly, and that's good. That's where we're challenging our bodies with a little bit of a balance element to our already twisty practice. And then whenever you're ready, come back in. You can use the chair to help as you step down. And I'll stay on this side and twist away from you so you can see it in that direction. So this time it's going to be my left foot to the chair. You can also be really close to the chair and more upright, or your foot can come out more and have a little bit of a lean as you twist. Those options, again, whatever variation you prefer for your body. So hands resting on the thigh, and take a breath in. Remember to get a little bit more upright, and then turn around my torso. In this case, it's toward the wall, and if I was right at the wall, I could use the wall for a little bit more leverage. Instead, I'm just going to use my hand. I can use the back arm to open away. And I just hold for another few breaths. And then turn back to front and bring the foot down. All right, just one more pose. We're going to do a version of revolved half moon. So the chair makes this challenging pose a little bit more accessible. Not that it's easy, it's just a little more accessible with the chair. Again, I'm just going to move my chair a little bit. So I'm going to start by hinging right from my hip crease, leaning forward and placing my hands on the chair. I'll step back a little bit so I can form a tabletop shape with my body. So I'll start by taking the right foot, I'm going to slip it behind me, and then I'll lift it in the air. Now I'm lifting my foot to about 90 degrees, as much as I can see myself in the camera, toes pointed down. Your foot might be here, that's fine too, wherever the leg naturally goes. So I'm going to keep the same hand as my right leg lifted, so my right hand is going to stay on the chair, and then my left hand is going to come to the back of the chair, and I'm going to start twisting a little bit toward my right. So this is the revolved half moon, is when we take the opposite leg and arm rather than opening up the same leg and arm. So you can feel that little bit of a twist in the body as I turn toward this arm. Obviously the balance, my bottom knee is a little soft. And as all the other postures we did, you can turn your head more or less. Another breath or two here, maybe pushing the leg out a little bit more, maybe exploring a little bit more openness toward me. And then leg down, hand down. You're welcome to stand up in between if you want to shake yourself out, or we'll go on to the last side. Hands down, left foot slips back, or whichever leg you didn't do yet. Left foot comes up to about your hip height, no higher than hip height. But if you want it to be lower, that's completely fine. And then because it's our left leg in the air, left hand is going to stay on the chair, and right hand can walk to the outside of the chair or the top of the chair, wherever feels right as you begin to turn your body to the left. So you see I'm turning away from you. Hopefully you feel a little bit of my back. And I came up onto the fingertips of my left hand so I could be a little more upright. So you could also have a block on the chair if you need to be a little higher here. All right, one more breath, maybe a little bit more extension of the leg, a little bit more twisting of the torso. And then I'm going to bring my hands down, bring my legs down, turn back to you. So that's our twisty chair yoga practice for today. As I said before we stood up, you are welcome to take a little bit of relaxation to the end. Sometimes it's just nice to sit and breathe. You can repeat any of the warm-up stretches we did with your neck, or go back to picking cherries to loosen up. I hope that you enjoyed this practice. You'll find that I have other chair or desk practices right here. Please hit the subscribe so you stay apprised of any time I add a new practice, and definitely comment below if you'd like to see something, have me do something different in these practices. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. Have a great rest of your day.